For Progressive Voices, I'm John Sinton, and this is a turning point. Today, inevitably, I guess. How? Half of Americans are elated that their champion vanquished his Democratic foes. Half are frightened and depressed by the broad election of an unfit, grifting felon. This was a transformational election not just for the country, but for media. Between YouTube and Spotify, 70 million saw or heard Donald Trump on Joe Rogan's podcast. That's a number traditional media used to see regularly, but now only sees on Super Bowl Sunday. John McEntee, a once and future Trump White House staffer, had these sage words, quote, "Whoever dominates the latest communication tool wins. Look at Trump with Twitter in 2016, Obama with Facebook, JFK with television, and FDR with radio," unquote. Team Trump's early strategy of web and podcast-based campaigning, where they mostly eschewed traditional ground game and mass media exposure, paid off. Donald Trump reflects at some level who at least half of us are. But do half of us really share his dark, vengeful views? I doubt it. Many simply voted on the price of eggs. Sure, there are haters, but I also think we are distracted by our entertainment devices and don't bother to pay close attention, preferring instead to believe what we come across online. We are, in the words of Neil Postman, amusing ourselves to death. I stand vanquished with the rest of the left. We are apparently the last to realize that the liberal world order established after World War II is over. We will proceed now as a minority. We will not acquiesce to authoritarianism or government by the few for the few. The pendulum swings, and it will swing back. But that change will not be measured in days or weeks. We will just have to do our best to forward our values and hope to win hearts and minds where we can. Change happens whether you like it or not. I am, of course, like so many others, unhappy with this change, but it is the new reality, and we will deal with it. What makes me apoplectic, however, is that the agent of change is actually an agent of chaos. We have selected the arsonist to be our fire chief. That we have rewarded criminal behavior, lying, and cheating does not sit well with me. Former Senator Claire McCaskill of Missouri said, quote, "It's official. He knew America better than we did. We thought we were better than fear and anger driven by lies. We weren't." Unquote. This brings into focus a necessary discussion regarding the legacy media and its total loss of power. Now that it is not so fearsome, I expect the new administration will try to subvert what's left of the mainstream media, using Hungarian strongman Viktor Orban as a guide. Like Vladimir Putin, he bought, shuttered, or jailed media platforms and journalists until opposition withered. And as is now clear, social media will not save us. They've already cut their budgets for content moderation. A.G. Sulzberger, the New York Times publisher, had a guest Washington Post editorial explaining how strong men bend the media to their will. Spoiler alert, you guessed it, it's money and threats. The Young Turks' Cenk Uygur had this to say, quote, "Politicians who went on mainstream media used to have a huge advantage, but this time Trump's appearances on online shows overpowered Harris's mainstream advantage. Her not doing online media proved to be an enormous mistake," close quote. Elon Musk got it, and he retargeted X to young men while overwhelming them with lies and conspiracy theories. Using that playbook, the Trump campaign focused on men 18 to 34. From the Washington Post, we get, quote, "Trump's staggering showing among this demographic was the culmination of a years-long effort to reach young men devoted to the beacons of American machismo, pranks, combat sports, stand-up comedy, and the oft misogynistic online fringe known as the manosphere." Angelo Carasoni, the boss at progressive media watchdog Media Matters, said, quote, "We have a country that is pickled in right-wing misinformation and rage," unquote. The Sunday shows have been a vacuous joke for years. although for some time it was not apparent what would replace them. This cycle it was podcasts. People listened to Call Her Daddy and Joe Rogan, not NBC's Meet the Press or ABC's This Week. CBS still airs Face the Nation, but like its brethren, it is an exercise in unanswered questions where polls simply pivot to their talking points. The hosts don't press because their corporate conglomerate ownerships have multiple interests and don't want to get crosswise with the new administration or the big defense contractors who would, they fear, pull their Sunday sponsorship money. David Resnick, editor of The New Yorker, said, quote, "Liberal democracy is a rare, precious, and vulnerable inheritance, and one that we have yet to fulfill. Journalism has a role to play, a very serious and meaningful one," unquote. It's fair to say democracy is on the ropes. One reason is the passage of time, memory of 1930s Europe no longer firsthand. Another is the evolving media. For Progressive Voices, I'm John Sinton.
Hi, this is Randy Rhodes right here on the Progressive Voices Network.
PV brings you the best progressive audio and video in one free stream. Stephanie Miller, Tom Hartman, Randy Rhodes, David Packman, Brad Friedman, and more. Search Progressive Voices on the TuneIn app. Download the free Progressive Voices app or go to progressivevoices.com.